Alright, testing 1, 2, 3. Welcome anyone who's watching. So, I thought I'd just chuck my microphone on just in case I get any more viewers in. Alright, so welcome to the stream, anyone who's watching. I'm just working on some Greyscale characters today, with selective color as well. So this is just a little mini series that I'm exploring. I want to kind of step back, take a look at color with a bit more of a direction in mind. So I wanted to limit myself by doing Greyscale characters, but only allowing myself to put color in one particular location on that design. So just so I can learn how to get the best points of highlight, best points of contrast. So I thought it'd be a fun little exercise to do some selective color character developments. I'm having a bit of a problem with this guy over here at the moment. Tattoos are fine, everything's fine there, just the eyeballs. I'm trying to get this bulge effect with just soft strokes, but at the moment he looks a little cross-eyed. It's because on this side we've got the low point here, but on this side we've got the high point. I'm trying to figure out how to get the best lighting because it's coming in from the left here. So I want to have it bouncing back there like it is on this side. To do that in a nice soft stroke. It's hard because that's one stroke on this other eye here and it works perfectly. So if I can nail it on this side, it'll look good too. That's kind of alright. Let's look at that. It's getting there. See, the problem is you don't want to make it look like the actual texture of the eyeball itself, but it's like a raised, kind of translucent pupil, you know, or eyeball in general. But this thick black line through the center, not working for me. Oops. Pull back a little bit on the top. To believe this has been the hardest part of the design so far. See, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Is to fill the volume of the eye, look real too. Can I put a little highlight there? If I can't figure this out quick enough, I might just leave it for a bit, go back to the blood spatter. It's a little frustrating, this eye, I'm not gonna lie. Need to make this brush bigger. softly, just a little bit. I'm gonna spend hours trying to get this perfect stroke. So I just grabbed the smudge tool there. I want to see if I can pull something out with the smudge tool. This actually seems to be working a bit better. We'll test this when I zoom out and see if it looks correct, just in general. Does it look realistic? So I want to make it soft to the edge here so it looks like it's bulging in front of the eyelid itself. That's better. That's actually a lot better. I will darken them up eventually. I will actually darken just this little section here. Just round it off a bit nicer. So you want this curve looking like a bubble on top of his eye. But I don't want to go too thick with the black because then it destroys that illusion. So leave it at that for now. I'll likely make changes along the way. So, at the moment, this guy's looking alright. Still like to finish up tattoos on his hand here. That's basically what I've got left on that. I did actually start another design with this character before I actually completed this grayscale. Because some of these I'll take and I might do coloured renders of. Others I'll just leave grayscale. He suits a grayscale look kind of, but I do like the red blood as the selective colour. So here's an example of some other stuff I've been working on. So again, just two documents here. I've been doing some grayscale work. You can see here, just if I were to give myself one point of focus, where would I want the contrast, the brightness, the light to be, you know? And that's where this whole selective color thing comes in. Just picking one area and limiting yourself. So I might jump back into this guy again. I don't know. I feel like colouring a bit, so or I should refine one of these. This one I consider complete at the moment, so I might work with the colour on that. But I was struggling to think of where I want the colour. I mean, ideally, it would be best focal point would be on the face, that character symbol. So that's that layer, no, that layer. There are a couple versions of it. No. Oh, here's the problem. Sorry, I had just looking at my layers on the other screen here. I had a flattened version in front of it. I'll just hide that. Makes a lot more sense now. Right, so I just got these. I've got two layers of the same, just both on overlay. Because 100% overlay on one didn't cut it for me, so I just added another at 50% just to get that nice lighting. So what I'll do now is just put a new layer on top of all this, coal color, and I'll put that in, just so you can see here, I'll put that in a filter of color mode, so in front of all the character design here. thinking blue, purple, fuchsia, violet, something like that. Let's see. You just look at my color picker here. I'll bring this over. So maybe I'll try something like this to start. I do like that transition to blue though. Like take that purple, blue, push it up a little bit, maybe just a little bit more into the blue spectrum. This is like ultraviolet really. So I just go on my color layer. I'll put this all the way up. And I'll just overlay on this. See if I can get a glowing effect here. That'd be interesting. Just gonna move those swatches out of the way. That's looking nice. The one thing I want to avoid is making it look like it's kind of cut and pasted on top of the face, because I kind of got the idea that this is like a fabric kind of ski mask, you know, that kind of, or probably more like a morph suit to be honest, but it's got a symbol on the front of it. But as I was saying, I don't want to make it look like this is kind of embossed on the surface. Kind of want it to look like fabric. It's kind of flat still. So that's why we're going to be careful with these drop shadow areas, where like if I go over onto that area compared to the white, kind of making my own shadow effect, which could be useful for other things to be honest, but if I cut it back here now, it makes it look flatter. But that technique's useful for other things if you're using a color filter, or many other filters as well to be honest. That looks kind of cool. I gotta be honest, that's actually worked. I thought it'd be too obvious putting the colour right on the face, and for a while I didn't even, when I was making these documents I wasn't considering colour, but to be honest that does look pretty cool. I think I might just leave it now. It's pretty well done. I was exploring another effect with this character. I've got the idea that this is kind of like an eye, a third eye, mind's eye, whatever you want to call it. To be honest, the original idea is these were all eyes, even the white bits included. So 5 in total, but for the purpose of this I was kind of just focusing on that center one. But yeah, you can see I've done one rainbow selective color thing there, but I had another idea, this design, so I was just bored the other day, didn't feel like painting much, but this is basically what I accomplished in the entire day about 3 days ago. So I just to this calligraphy character, but I just kept working on it, making it look smoother. Added some paint, changed the saturation, then a little bit of liquify. I thought it was a cool kind of a piece to accompany the grayscale. I don't know. This guy in the center here, got to work on that a bit more. The face looks like it's been smashed in, but I do like the composition overall. But that one I'll leave for a bit. I want to focus on particularly these characters, this guy in particular, these two, and probably that one that I showed you before. So like I said, yeah, some I'll refine more, some I'll leave. I actually have a another folder in this document, roughs, so it's just other designs. They've kind of just been abandoned. Or I'll likely just refine them later. I kind of like this one, even though it's really strange. And this guy's suit, pretty cool. Oh, and then there was that one as well. Some kind of spider hitman thing. With 4 arms, 4 legs, 6 eyes. I don't know. I'll refine that one. It's a little scratchy. It's a lot of, you know, I can't decide if it's line work or if it's blocking. So I'm trying to learn a new method slowly. But that's an example of where I'm trying something new, just using half lines, half block method. But ideally this is the method I've been using here. This is kind of the structure I want to follow. We do block color, and then so we use this brush. I'll give you a quick demo. I'll use this brush to block in color, but then I'll use this one to kind of get that what am I saying? That airy spray can kind of effect. Airbrush, that's the word I was looking for. Can't believe I forgot the word airbrush. So yeah, that's the kind of idea. So I might go back to this guy for a bit. I don't know, I can still work on the blood spatter. I just want to make sure I don't overkill it. Alright, so I get my spatter brush, and I have the color source there. I'm just going to hide that again. Alright. So I'm actually going to use my mouse for this. I'm not using the tablet because it's easier to click. If I'm using my mouse, I might drag accidentally, you know. It's just easier to like click once with the mouse, or click twice to get this color extra. But I'm going to be putting this on a multiply layer filter. So then it looks perfect when it overlays. And then it's just a question of where to position it. Kind of got the idea that it was blood spatter from this angle onto him like that, so I'm going to try and follow that. I did do a layer with a bit of line work to kind of give that direction, so I might work on that a bit more. And that was the layer there. So I've got these areas where there's lines in it just to give direction, like I said. I don't know if I want to put a heap of blood on the face. I kind of it was trying to follow the, trying to follow the same idea I did with the tattoos. So I had minimal tattoos on the face, but like all over the body. But I might just put a bit of spatter here. Like there's already a little bit on the neck and the chin there, but just want it a bit more minimal on the face. Is this a new layer? No. Here we go. And these brushes are really small, you can't even see the effect. See, I don't even know how that's coming up on the stream. Some of these little stippling dots are very small. Put that on a multiply. Just position it there. So I want to fit it a bit better, I might just warp it a little bit. At least it fits the form of the face better that way. And I can also save myself some time from erasing these areas. But I'll just leave it at that, and I'll just erase on the outside. Problem with making all these layers separate is you don't know what you're erasing sometimes, so occasionally you'll see me flatten some of them down. So I'll just, might do that now. So just find like 2 layers, I'll merge them, you'll see the colour change, just put it back into multiply. How many blood layers have I got here? Let's see. I'll hide 1, 2, yeah, I'll hide that, 3. So I'm just trying to see which layer is which. I'll highlight those 3 layers, merge them, and then again just put it into a multiply layer filter. So I'm just keeping the layers tidy as tidy as I can, really. I've got to put something around the waist area because there's kind of a bit where I've missed here, where I've gone to the shorts but left it at the stomach. So I'm making a new layer again. I do find it's better making a new layer each time, because if I want to move one of these spatter effects a particular way, then I can do it separately to the rest of the spatter. It's pretty easy. Just merge 2 down again. Got some references here as well, I just realized that. Probably on that stage at the moment. What's this layer? That's nothing, okay. Alright, so I'm just going to select my colours. I'll get on with it. Let's see. I want to start learning colours, or at least the grayscale spectrum, by its hexadecimal name, just so I have some favourites. So I just typed in 2D, 2D, 2D. I get here nice white that isn't quite white. It's D, 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 or 3 more, same colour. So that's almost white. It'd be fun to learn hexadecimal colour theory. Alright, let's get started here. So remember, with fabric we want to try and go to the form or per figure, but fabric's one of those weird things. It's hard, but it's easy at the same time, because best fabric is minimal, but to be able to paint fabric really the really minimal effect and make it look good is difficult. So it's one of those complex things. What I found is there's a lot of hard cuts in this kind of fabric, at least. Like a lot of sharp areas where light doesn't quite dip into, but there might be little areas where it does. And you want to kind of just work that. So like this little spot here. But then if I was doing it up here, I'd have to do a little shadow down here as well, maybe. But you don't want to make it look too blocky either. I might drop down my opacity a lot and just do some overcast, kind of soften it up a bit. So I think I'm going for like a direct front-on lighting with this one. So I've just switched to a more of a airbrush here, or a round brush as you could say. I'm going to put the opacity up a little bit, but the point now is to try and soften these hard edges out. I'm just going to be switching between my highlight and my shadow. So I've got the shortcut for that bound to my pen. I did that recently actually. It should have been a long time ago. Just X, so you can see I'm just using one of the side buttons of my pen to switch through. But yeah, I only did that recently. Thicken up the neck a little bit more. Even off those collarbones. Let's see. That's not going to be a good selection. It's okay. I'm going to draw some soft shadows in here now. Maybe a little bit darker. I'm going to take this tone. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Over the lines a little bit there. Use that same colour, but I'm just going to drop the opacity. This music reminds me of Crash Bandicoot. I don't know, but it might actually be a remix. So what I should probably mention is I'm more than likely to just jump around from each character to the next. Sometimes I can lose interest in a design. Not that I lost interest in that one, but yeah, sometimes it's hard to predict. I might just work on all of them at once, so to speak. So I'll just check this one out for a second. I think the reason I abandoned this one last time was because the arms were too short. Or they didn't have that kind of, I don't know, a certain quality I want. And I didn't design it in the best method, to be honest, this particular character. What I might do in that case is just flatten it completely and drop the opacity to create a new layer on top of that. Just start working on a better outline, or just start blocking in color. So let's see. Merge 3 of these layers together. No, that's not bad. The head separate. No. Like that. Like that. Might as well just merge it all. Going to be easier that way. I'll drop the opacity too now. Whoops. So I don't know, this one I might do in a bit more of a line method. I do a lot of pencil drawing. I used to do a lot more. In fact, I started concept design often using pencil drawings and then scanning them, taking them into Photoshop and then doing paint overs. So I do like a line method, But it was strange. The first time I got a tablet, I actually began just in more of a painterly method than a line art method, which was strange considering I started with pencil. But let's just try and do a bit of a line here, a bit of line art. I'm going to be adding a couple details here as well, like possibly making the hood separate here, like it's its own piece of clothing. The plus side to this kind of method is you often discover you have a lot of details in the underdrawing that you can pull out. And then if I merge this down after, I could even do more lines on top and just basically pull out more detail. So it's something I enjoy about line art. Just going to add another pocket on the side here that I didn't in the drawing beneath. So still got to make sure the arms are a good length in this one. That was the problem with the drawing originally. I'm still not happy after this, I can just, like I said, merge it down. I can cut off all the arms, I can make it longer if I need. They're looking okay at the moment. Probably warp some stuff afterwards anyway. I might bring a bit of highlight into here now. Or more of a mid-tone. Let's just try this on a new layer. Go a little bit higher in opacity, 50%. Seems just a little too much. Try 30. Yeah, that's looking okay. See if we can get a nice outline here. Drop it down a bit now. That looks okay. So this isn't my normal method, as I was saying before, which is, it's kind of strange for me to be doing this. But like I said, I came originally from pencil design. I used to do a lot of pencil drawings. But what was strange when I picked up digital design was I just went straight to more of a painting style. So it's interesting for me to take a step back and do this kind of artwork now. You can see I'm doing more of a painting method now. Sometimes I don't have the patience for lines. I think that's part of the problem. But I had no problem with it with pencil, so go figure. Put the opacity up a bit now. Almost forgot that. Let's just curve this shoe around so it gives it a bit more depth. Just want to make sure that outline's pretty tight. Don't want to make that some messy lines in the outline. Looks okay. So if you're interested in checking out some of the other stuff I'm working on, like the title suggests, I'm just doing Greyscale and Selective color tonight. So here's some of the other pieces I've been working on. I started these about a week ago, but recently I just came up with the idea to put one color on each character. If I could only use color in one area, where would I put it? So let's get a bit creative. Like with this one, the blood spatter on the chest. I haven't decided for these two because they're kind of still in the painting process, but this one I had the idea for the forehead, obviously. I've got a couple of the layers hidden here, so there's that one. Just hide some of this other stuff quickly. There we go. And then just another version of this one on the right. Just move that over. That one's a little different. So yeah, just trying to use color as specifically as I can. Always keep it minimal, but yeah, you have to be very particular about where you want to put it. And in many ways, it's just training me how to use contrast well. You know, points of interest in a design. This was the one I was working on earlier in the stream. I was just going to be crazy with that blood spatter on the chest. But again, I don't want to overdo that. So I think that one's pretty much done now. Still want to tidy up some of the paint down here in the waist and the hands. Still want to add a couple more tattoos. But yeah, that one's looking pretty good. I'll jump back to this kind of spider character. I don't know what this guy is. He's got like four arms, 4 legs. Because I'm still learning, there's still certain things I struggle with, and hands is definitely one of them. I'm trying to kind of design this method where, in a sense, drawing the bones underneath, but that helps me give the highlight point of the knuckles. And it's just a matter of blending them back down like this. I've definitely gotten better at hands. They're a lot easier traditionally, I think, but digitally somehow I struggle a bit. I just want to soften this up a bit. Some smoke in here. I think I originally had some smoke because I got the idea if there's a cigarette or cigar in my hand. I'm just going to use an airbrush, maybe more of a dark grey, really low opacity here, 15-16%. I'm going to put this layer in front of everything else first. So there we go. still think his arm's still a little short in comparison to the proportion of his head. But at this point I think that's something I might just figure out a little bit later on. I'm going to fill in some of these lines a bit more now. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. I think I'm going to call it an evening now. I might work on these a bit more tomorrow, particularly this character. I like the way it's turning out now actually. The line works really pulled it together. It was a little messy before, but I just merged everything down. So that's actually what it looked like before. It was very messy. But as you can see, just with a couple of lines, some better airbrush effects. Put that back down now, you can see it like down to 50%, so that's where I'm at now. So it's already starting to look better. But like I said, I might work on that a little bit tomorrow. But yeah, for now, thanks for tuning in if you did. I'm going to end it here, and yeah, stay tuned, and I'll probably be streaming again tomorrow, maybe a little bit earlier so more people can tune in. But yeah, as I said, thanks for listening, thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.